Forrest Fenn was an eccentric and wealthy man who had always been fascinated by the concept of treasure hunting. He had spent most of his life collecting various artifacts and precious items, amassing a fortune in the process. But even with all his wealth, Forrest felt like something was missing from his life. That was when he came up with the idea of staging a treasure hunt that would captivate the world and bring him the excitement he craved. Forrest spent years planning the treasure hunt, carefully selecting a location for the hidden treasure and crafting elaborate clues that would lead adventurers to it. He even went as far as to fill a bronze chest with gold coins, jewels, and other valuable items, making the prize worth millions of dollars. Once everything was in place, Forrest announced the treasure hunt to the public, attracting a massive following of treasure hunters from all over the world. They came in droves, determined to decipher the clues and find the hidden treasure. As the hunt went on, the excitement and anticipation only grew. People were obsessed with finding the treasure, and the media coverage only fueled their obsession. Forrest watched from afar, pleased with how his plan was unfolding. But little did anyone know, there was a sinister twist to this treasure hunt. In reality, Forrest had never actually hid the treasure. It was a rusted relic he called the bullet, which was the proxy he treasured. It was found in 2016, but Forrest had planned for the hunt to end with his death. But he wasn't satisfied with just keeping it for himself. He wanted to see the disappointment and frustration on the faces of those who came close to finding it, only to have it slip through their fingers. So he continued to give out more clues, leading people further and further away from the real location. Eventually, the treasure hunt became too much for some people. They completely dedicated their lives to finding the treasure, neglecting their families, jobs, and everything else in pursuit of the elusive prize. Some even went as far as to break the law, causing chaos and destruction in their search. Forrest watched all of this with a twisted satisfaction, but as the years went by and no one could find the treasure, he started to feel guilty. He realized that he had created a monster, and it was consuming people's lives. So he decided to end the treasure hunt once and for all. In 2020, Forrest announced that the treasure had been found. He revealed that he had hidden it in the Rocky Mountains, but did not disclose the exact location. The person who found it was an anonymous individual, and there was no way of knowing how they had discovered it. Many people were shocked and disappointed by the news, feeling like they had wasted years of their lives chasing a dream that had been intentionally kept out of reach. Others were relieved that the treasure hunt was over and could finally move on with their lives. Forrest felt a sense of bittersweet relief. He was glad that the treasure had been found and the madness was over, but he also couldn't help but feel guilty for what he had put people through. He had hoped that the treasure would bring joy and adventure to people's lives, but instead, it had caused chaos and obsession. In the end, Forrest's treasure hunt would be remembered as a cautionary tale of how a seemingly harmless adventure can turn into an all-consuming obsession. And as for the treasure, it may have been found, but its true value would always be the lessons it taught and the havoc it wreaked.